Hello, welcome to Creative You Podcast. Here it is, Friday evening. We're heading into June, and there's Patches already getting her 2 cents in. My husband was reading some little things to make you happy during this COVID thing, and one was, did you notice there aren't as many selfies now that people can't get to the beauty shop? And one was, why is it that you give your 2 cents worth, but it's only a penny for your thoughts? So today I was at the shop by myself for hours and no one came in. And your subconscious starts to dredge up all kinds of things from the past, things that hurt, things that should have been and weren't. And I remember hearing a man say one time he hiked the Appalachian Trail alone. And he said, I would like to tell you that it was a time filled with wonderful memories and thoughts. But he said, my self-conscious dredged up every bad thing, everything lacking in my life, past hurts. Our subconscious can be quite a beast. And I thought, isn't that why we love children? They're in the moment, And I said to God today, I don't want to rewind the past, and I don't want to fast forward into the future. Help me to live right now and be grateful. And then I said, that is why you ask us for praise. And God calls it the sacrifice of praise, because we don't feel like praising, but the more you praise, the more grateful and thankful you are, not only for now, but for the blessings in the past that you're reaping now. So I found this poem called Changing the Past by Donna. The past is the past for a reason. That is where it is supposed to stay, but some cannot let it go. In their heads, it eats away until all their focus becomes the person they used to be, the mistakes they made in their life. Oh, if only they could see that you cannot change what happened, no matter how hard you try, no matter how you think about it, no matter how much you cry. What happens in your lifetime happens for reasons unknown. So you have to let the cards unfold, let your story be shown. Don't get wrapped up in the negative. Be happy with what you've been given. Live for today, not tomorrow. Get up, get out, and start living. Because the past is the past for a reason. It's been, and now it's gone. So stop trying to think of ways to fix it. It's done. It's unchangeable. Move on. I hope that helped you. It helped me. God talks about giving you beauty for ashes. Out of ashes come beauty. So, my crocheting friends, this is a scarf I found. It's called Caron Simply Soft Lace Scarf. This is not Caron Simply Soft. This is EllaRae Lace Merino, and this is a yarn cozy, or sometimes they're called a yarn bra. But did you ever have the outside and the inside keep tangling? This prevents that, and I really like these little things. And they only cost $1 retail. So it's a very easy pattern. I let it sit at the yarn shop, and every day I do a row or two. It's a free pattern. It's very easy to memorize. This yarn is going to drape nicely. It's not going to stick out like a stiff board. And I'm picturing it with a navy blue top, a dark green, top, and it's gonna look very pretty. And this is why I picked this color. Yarn also has nice stretch, which you find with superwash yarns because they've been treated. And that's why you have that stretch. If you're making a garment, that might not always be a good thing, all that stretch. So, I think most of you have seen my in threes cardigan. And when I knit this, it's a $6 pattern by Hedrick. I thought that this yarn was cotton. when you feel the yarn in the ball, it feels soft. But then as I was knitting it, it had like a plastic feel. And today I was showing it to a customer, 100% acrylic. Now I understand why it felt that way. But you start here, and it is a very fun pattern. I decided this time to do it with Arona. Suddenly, all of these women are coming into the shop saying, I'm going to be a grandmother. So I thought during the shutdown that there would be some babies conceived. This yarn is a flat yarn. It is cotton, it's soft, it's machine washable, and people seem to walk past it. And when you have a yarn shop, you got to make your yarns look attractive. One of my customers said one time, unless there's a project that I want to make, it's just another pretty yarn, and I walked past it. So I got this done in just a few hours. You start here, you keep increasing, and the N3s is because you have 3 garter stitch bands. And so far, I really like the way the colors are coming out. So this is going to be not the infant size, but the next size up. If you want to do it for a preemie or a tiny baby, instead of a worsted weight yarn, you can use a DK weight yarn. So I hope to get this done this weekend. It is nice and soft. It will feel good on a baby. And if you've never done anything like this, don't be afraid, because all of a sudden you just skip the sleeves, pinch it off, and go on your way. I expect this to go pretty quickly. And the buttonholes are usually just like yarn over, knit 2 together, very easy, nothing to sweat over. I wanted to show you a game. Board games, I hope I don't knock this over. Board games are not cheap anymore at all. I think this might have been $24.99. But it's just the 2 of us most of the time and the pets. And so we're looking for 2-player games. This is so fun. It was worth every penny if you can afford it. And I think there are a bunch of other games in this series. And I actually have a yarn called J Purr. Now I'm wondering, what does J Purr mean? Let me just see here. So it's a quick game, 15 to 20 minutes. It's a serendipitous, fun game. Some tactics, also a lot of luck. And it's colorful, so it elevates your mood. And so you want to play again. I want to play more than my husband. He's been losing, and when you lose, Jaipur is the capital and largest city of the Indian state of Rajasthan. Founded in 1727, Jaipur is known as the Pink City of India. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but you want to be the salesman for the head honcho, and you sell rubies, diamonds, silver, and some other things that aren't worth as much. But there's also camel cards, and if a bunch of camel cards come up, you get stuck with them. And you get these coins when you sell your things. I would recommend it. It's easy to learn, and it is fun. And I'd invite you to come through and play with me right now. So I've been doing a little knitting for grandchildren, and customer and I were talking today. A lot of times when you get old and you've amassed all these beautiful things, she gave me an amazing teapot that I can't wait to show you. Your children and grandchildren don't want the beautiful things that you have. And I think part of it is growing up thinking that grandma's stuff is old-fashioned stuff. And I remember when my grandparents died 3 days apart, my grandmother had a wardrobe. Well, to me, I thought that's before people were modern and before people had closets. I didn't want that wardrobe. I didn't want that settee thing. And I found out later they were worth a lot of money. And my husband and I, we were quite poor when we started out. We could have used those. And I remember back when my husband and I dabbled in selling antiques. And my sister's in-laws, his grandparents, they had been married 70 years. They were 90 years old. Gave her all of this Pyrex and all of these dishes in like pristine condition. She immediately took them to the thrift shop. I said, do you have any idea what they were going for? Like, they used to have these Pyrex bowls. One was red, yellow, blue, and I forget the other color. They were going for $65 a set. She had no idea. She wished she could get them back. I did the same thing with this teapot my other grandmother had. It was like World War II-ish, these faded colors. It was probably like Tom Tom Stole a Pig. I always thought it was ugly. She gave it to me off to the thrift shop. I found out that was worth quite a bit, but you can't go back. And so one of my customers said a very good friend of hers died, and she saw that happen to her friend's things, just out at a yard sale and people treating it like nothing. And so she decided that her treasured items, she is going to find homes for a lot of them that she's not using now while she's living. And that has become one of her missions. So I think sometimes knitting and crocheting gets treated like that. Oh, grandma does it. You know, those little houses, they used to be called the Cat's Meow. They're flat, maybe about an inch wide, and they have beauty shops and fire companies. They have like all the different shops, and people will put them on ledges. And when I first opened my shop, I was going to call it the Cat's Meow. And I found a poster the other day that I made it up with a cat playing with a ball of yarn. But when you Google the Cat's Meow, you would get these little wooden cutouts. And they had made one for the church several blocks down the street. So my shop is in McSherrystown. It would pull up the church from McSherrystown. So I thought, we can't do that. But anyway, there was one of a yarn shop. Little ancient old lady outside knitting. And I called them. They said, no, we don't do anything custom. But I said, a lot of young people knit. Well, yeah, it's kind of the stigma. Oh, knitting's a granny thing. So this is one of the things that my granddaughters like. Now, you can wear it like a boat neck, but that would be, I think, the way most people would wear it. In the book, it's done with Juniper Moon Zooey, which is a linen cotton blend. And I think that would feel great for summer. And let me see if there's another picture of it. So talking about we did a whole thing on fringes, and look at that pretty shawl with the fringe. And that's not a fingering weight either. That looks like a heavy worsted weight. I was at Grand Rounds one time. Grand Rounds is for doctors, nurses. Sometimes doctors come from other hospitals, and they have a wonderful speaker that's usually brought in, sometimes flown in, sometimes authors of books, and so forth. And at Grand Rounds, I would always knit or crochet. And I was crocheting a baby blanket for one of my fellow doctors that was expecting. And I guess I was in like dreamland, daydreamland, crocheting. So it was question and answer time, and I raised my hand. I was sitting like way up toward the top. And when I asked the question, doctor started to turn around and look at me. And I thought, oh, it must be a really good question, like an intelligent question. And so the speaker took the time and answered it. After it was over, one of the other residents came up and said, Catherine, that question had just been asked and answered right before you asked it. It was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. And you know, when they did like the senior send off, they made me kind of sound like a dimwit. Oh, crocheting and getting lost. Oh, well, you know what? It doesn't bother me. So I might tackle that when I get done the little like broad type top I'm making for them. So it's the end of our time together. I hope you had a good time. So did I. You know, it's trying times, but stay in the present, be thankful, and shine, baby, shine.